Welcome back, CSC 102 class, to part 2 of our surgeries, and we're just going to make some charts. And what we did on part 1, after we put in our data, which took a little longer than I expected, but we have it in there, and we colored it, and we made it look nice. Not sure what I'd want to do here. I might want to make that light blue to kind of fill in the background or something, or maybe that orange color, something like that. So now that we have our spreadsheet, we're going to make some charts out of the data. And the charts that we're going to have to make, 3 of them, it says total number of surgeries over 2 years. So we already have the totals. So this one should be pretty easy. So we're going to go back and we're just going to use our totals here. So we have the total number of surgeries. Now what we're going to need for our chart, we're going to want the names. And you can even highlight surgeons. So I'm going to highlight A3 through A9. So I'm going to highlight them. And then I'm going to hold Control and highlight surgeries through 42. So that I have 7 cells selected here and 7 cells selected here. And if it doesn't work out, if when you first do it, it doesn't look right, just do it again. And then we're going to go to Insert, and we're going to go to Chart up here, the little chart thing, and we're just going to use a column chart. So the first one that you see is fine, and there it is. And you can grab on the edge with the quad arrow, and I guess I'll just put it down here for now, and I'll just move down a little bit. And it doesn't look too fancy right now. And if you want to, you could use this thing here and make it look a little nicer. I've just been using this one with the blue. And some things we want to put in here, we want to put in our data labels. So we're going to go here, and we see we have axes, we have chart title, and we're going to go to data labels, and we'll check those. And we're going to leave them on top. Now if you wanted to change them, you could click on just one of them and it'll select all of them. And if you go to the Home tab, you can make them, bold. If you want them to look a little nicer, if you even want to make them bigger, you could hit the up arrow so they're a little easier to see. And if you want to put axis titles, you could put them over there. Now you could click on the one here and just put surgeons. Now when you click on here, you can just type surgeons over here. You don't have to try and highlight it. So I'm going to do surgeons. And if I click off, you'll see it'll say surgeons. And if I want to just click on that and change the color, make sure you just click on the box itself. And I'll just change the text color of that. I'll make it yellow so it stands out. And then same thing over here. I'll click on this one. And I'll just put surgeries. Even though we have surgeries, it's not probably that necessary to put that over here, but I'll just put surgeries over here. And I'll change that to yellow. And that looks fine. And up here, I'm just going to put, and you could go in here, because I already have the word surgeries in here. And you could just put like total surgeries, and I could just put by surgeon in here. Or if you just left it like that, that would be okay. And I'll click off and just click on. So I select that box again, and I'll just make it yellow. And again, if you wanted to change any of these things, if you click on these boxes, if you didn't want them blue, let's say you wanted something else, there's surgeries, maybe you want them a different color, maybe you want green, because then complications will be red. You could do something like that. So if you didn't want them blue, use your paint bucket. And let me try them as, I'll use kind of a lighter green here. I'll use this one up here. You could make it green. That's fine. It's like a solid green now and yellow. I don't know how great that looks, but that's fine. And then what we'll do is we'll make another one that has both surgeries and complications. We're going to do another one. So I'll go up here, and what we're going to want here is we're going to want the same thing. We're going to want surgeon and through the last surgeon. So those 7 cells. And then we're going to hold Control and do surgeries through that one. Now we already have that, but we're just kind of figuring out how to make a clustered column when we have double values. So we're going to use surgeries and complications. And then I'm going to hold Control again and select complications through 1. So that'll be highlighting 7 cells, 7 cells, 7 cells. So we have 21 cells highlighted, and if it doesn't work out, just try it again. And we should have columns. We should have one column right next to each other. The smaller columns should be next to each other. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to go Chart. I'll use the same kind of column chart. It'll make a clustered column because I have 2 values selected, and it should look something like that. And I could put this down here right next to it. I'll keep it the same size. I'll even Go in and make it the same color if I want. This one initially. And if I want to make these green, I could click on the blue ones and just go back to my home tab. If I want to use this, I can make them green if I want. I'll use that green again. And that way I know that I'm talking about the same green ones that are over here. Now if I want data labels, I could go over here and check on data labels. And if I want to make them bold, make them bigger, I'd click on the data labels and I could choose bold and the little up button. And notice when I do that, it created a legend by itself. So there's a legend of surgeries complications down there. And if I go click on here, I can say total surgeries and complications by surgeon. Now it's kind of a long title to have in there. And I don't know if they let me do a line break. Let me try to do shift enter. Yeah, and it let me do a line break inside that box, so that looks fine. And if I wanted to change the color of that, I'm going to click on the edge of that again. And if it's not working, just kind of click off and click on the box again. And then I'll make it yellow. And you can see it took the yellow there. So everything's looking okay. So now what we're going to do is the percentage. Now we're not going to do a percent. You might think, well, why don't we do a pie chart for that? The reason we're not going to do that because it would make it look like the person who actually has a small rate of complication, it'll give them a big piece of the pie and it'll make it seem like they have a lot of complications because it'll be relative to each other. It'll just be adding up these percentages and then figuring out the biggest percentage. We don't want to do it like that because these are out of 100, so we don't want to make them look like they're very big. So we're just going to keep it as a bar chart or a column chart. Actually, I'm going to make these bold because they're a little hard to read. And actually made these bold, but that's okay. Actually, all these should probably be bold since they're totals. There's nothing wrong with making them bold. And then we're going to do a bar chart out of the rate of complications. And this is actually the easiest one, so this won't be hard at all. Again, we're going to do the surgeon through the last surgeon, so those 7 cells, highlight them first, then hold control. And instead of doing rate of, I'm just going to highlight complications through the last one. And that's what I want there. And then I'm just going to do insert and column chart again. And I'm just going to move this up here, and I could go below if I want. If I want to put this below here, I could do that too. I'll see it when I get to it. And I'll do the same thing. I'll give it that style I did initially. And maybe I'll make these things red. I'll just go back here and make that red. Harsh red. I'll make it a little lighter red. And then I'll also do data labels again. On this previous one, because we have a legend here, it wasn't that necessary to put surgeons and put surgeries because it says surgeries, says complications, and we have names here. So down here, we could still put axis titles. So I could go down here and just put surgeons, and I'll just put comp percentage. It's not that important that we put that there because we are going to have it across the top. And I'm just going to click that cell again and just type complication percentage. And I'll just use the % sign, and I'll say by surgeon, click off, and it should take that. And then if we want to do that, yellow as well. And remember, click the box so that you don't have to highlight the text inside. Or you could highlight the text inside if you have any problem doing that. And then also these things, I'm going to make bold, and I'll make them, I think they are white already. At least they should be white. Oh, maybe they're not white. They look kind of grayish. But anyway, I'll make them a little bit bigger. And I guess that's all I need. So that's all we need. That's all you need is your 3 charts when you're done. And I'll make sure I save this. And then you can upload this Excel file once you're done.